Hey everybody, 'tis I, Vegeta FH1, again. Today's been interesting. So, thinking more of different things. Um, okay, first off, like black holes, center of the galaxy. Um, kind of just throwing this out there. When you see a black hole, when you look at a black hole, initially, you can't see it. It's a black hole. The only time you really get to see a black hole is when it is swallowing a star. And I mean a star in excessive amounts of photons. And you can see the swirl and the way it goes into the black hole and disappears into what we seemingly think is nothingness. Now keep the picture of that black hole in mind, where you get this dying star being sucked into the black hole. And it creates this ring of what I can only deduce as photons around its edge. And I look at the center of our galaxy to something that looks like what can only be described as a giant star. And I see the gas being whisked around or from the center. And I look at it and I look at the connections between the two. When you stick them side by side, they're similar, but in reverse. So, what are the chances that the center of our galaxy is a white hole? It all makes sense. Well, at least to me. I look at the center of the galaxy, and you see what could be described as a giant star. Or something that is swallowing, or trying to swallow everything. And if you consider a white hole would be spewing things forth, that would in itself look like a star, since everything would be being thrown forward from the center. It would look like a giant star. Because it'd be doing it in all directions. And after that, on the edge, you'd have the gas clouds being created from the force of this being pushed forward. So essentially you have new elements coming into existence, almost kind of like a small Big Bang, just more constant. It it's weird when I think about it like that, because that would essentially mean that there's a connection between the black holes and the white hole in the center of the galaxy. And I have no idea, other than quantum mechanics, that could transport the information from one place to the other. The only thing I can think of is entanglement. Now, I don't pretend to know what the hell is in the center of a black hole, because, like, I don't think I've ever been to the center of a black hole. But I can observe and look at the similarities in what's going on and see, is there something that I'm missing, or is there something out of place, or am I just not interpreting it correctly? Because everyone and their mother thinks that the center of our galaxy is a black hole. And they attribute this to they attribute it to everything swirling around the one point. And that would be the galaxy. That would be the center of the galaxy. But a white hole would do the same. And not with a pulling power, but with a pushing power. But then you have the instances of the pulling, which would be, you have, let's say, the center of the galaxy, and then you have a solar system, which, feck it, let's take ours. You would have the pushing power of the center of the galaxy pushing everything out, while our star is being pulled towards what's pushing it, essentially neutralizing the effect. But at the same time, what's coming from the white hole would be also dragging. It would have this momentum to push something outwards. But then you have the star, which is, it's gravity intensive, and anything that's going to be heavier than it is going to be attracted to it. And something like a white hole spewing so much shit forward, I would think would be heavier. So it's pulling itself towards the white hole, and all you need is just a little fucking nudge for it to just spin all the way around the galaxy. So that in itself, that would also give it its flatness, like the Saturn rings, because everything eventually neutralizes out. You get your north and south. That's for a different video. I have discovered. I have thought of a way how to navigate through an extended north, south, east, and west. But that, again, for another video. Anyway, all you'd need to do is give it a little push, and it's going to go around the galaxy, while pushing and pulling from the same targets. So you get this kind of pinwheel effect, where the entire galaxy moves at the same kind of speed, because gravity is gravity, and if it hits something that neutralizes it, there is going to be an effective range of where it's of where it's dissipated from. Where, no, that doesn't make sense. Where it stops at. Because of course, the bigger the object, the more gravity it feckin' has. So when it's throwing out gravity, let's say 5 feet from it, and you have this, whatever the hell this white hole is spewing forth, negative gravity? Yeah, let's go with negative gravity. So you have gravity, which is being spewed 5 feet from the object, and you got the negative gravity coming in. You have the negative gravity pushing it back towards the object, and you have the gravity pulling the object towards it, towards the center of the galaxy. So you have these forces which would neutralize at a certain distance from the movable planet or star. So you have this minimum distance for a hefty object, and it gets swung all the way across the galaxy. And I'm missing parts to it. I know I am. I can't quite think straight. I'm tired. But this is like the forces I'm having to think about are adding up in a way that points to the center of the galaxy being a white hole. Now, again, never been to the center of the galaxy, and if I'm right, I would never want to be, because you'd get to a certain distance and you'd be sandblasted by so many different elements. But it makes sense to me. But then again, something that doesn't have a gravity would be being pushed out as well, like gas clouds and all sorts of weird things, and we haven't really noticed them being pushed outward. So I wonder if there's a amount of push that this white hole can produce. So you have gas clouds that are not affected by it. So you'd need something that is affecting objects without affecting them. Holy, wait, neutrinos. No, because they pass through most objects, including the Earth. So I don't think they're carrying any sort of weird information from any potential white hole. But there's something that we're just missing. All of us, not just me. Well, I suppose that kind of goes without saying, because otherwise we wouldn't definitely know what's in the middle of a galaxy and in the middle of a white hole, because we'd have a better understanding of what the fuck's going on. I don't know, maybe I won't upload this one. It's almost 15 minutes long, jeez. But there's something there. I'm gonna give it some further thought in the morning and hopefully come up with something. You know what, screw it, I'll upload this. Yeah, no, that's all I can manage at the moment. I'll give it some further thought. Anyway, see yous.